I am working on a gate from my parents' house. It is going to roll, be mobile, so it's not going to be attached to a fence. It's just going to cover their breezeway. It'll make more sense whenever I end up showing y'all, but let's get on these bad boys. It's going to roll, and yeah, it's going to be 5 feet by 12 feet. And we'll have wood going across the middle of it. It's going to be kind of slats going this way, that way. Wheels will be a foot outside from the frame on either side of it. A foot on that side, a foot on this side. Wheel here, wheel here. And yeah, it'll be upright and roll back and forth and keep the deer out of their backyard. I'm moving right now, so I got stuff working with a small bench and small garage. But I'll have my shop soon. And yeah, right now I'm tapping what's going to be the axles for the bolt that's going to hold the wheel on. These axles will slide into some 1-inch square tubing. That'll make more sense once I get to that part, but anyways, here we go. All right, I got the first one finished here. There it is. On to the next one. All right, got the second one done. Simple as that. And I've already had 2 other ones done. So I've got 4 axles, 4 wheels. I'll grab the wheels and show you how it's going to work. So it seems pretty self-explanatory to me, but the gate will be over here. There will be a square tube that meets up with this, with a fender washer between it and the hub here. And this will be sticking out of the square tube. It'll make more sense in a bit. But basically, wheel goes in, wash it through the bolt. That's it. This will be secure over here. It's gonna work. My plan for the end of the axle is to fix a little square to it, centered the best I can. And it's basically going to be a press fit into the 1-inch square tube. So I'm hoping it's going to be tight enough to where I have to tap it in with a hammer. And then this will be in there. And I'll line this up with that line I got from the hub. Weld this right there. So that way the axle will be supported right here, as well as in here with that piece I hammered in there. I think I can make it work. Alright, I've cut this to 2 feet. That's how long it's going to be. And I'm thinking, I'll hammer this in here. Alright, see if we can get this in here. Don't really know what I'm doing. It's usually working out so far. So the combination of that and these welded right there, that's what the wheel will sit on. It's about as ugly as it gets, but it's my first one. The other ones will come out better. That's the idea, though. That's it. Alright, just gotta do that 3 more times. Finished 1 axle. Looks pretty cool, I think. Pretty simple, but functional. That's all it takes. Alright, so I'm pretty new to welding, like very new. So I need these to be 90s. So I cut 45s into each of them. And I think if I use this brace, this vise, to hold it, I don't need to do like support welds to keep it from pulling it, from the weld pulling it in, to change, to warp it. And I got spacers underneath right there to make it the same height as this. So I think I'm just good to start welding. And I need to do the outside first here, then this side, and then the other side, and the inside last, because that's what pulls the most. But I think if I have this brace here, it'll keep it. And really I'm gonna tack it pretty good and do every corner and make sure every corner is a 90, and then go back and weld them all, and that should keep it square. If I understand what I'm doing correctly, that should work. I'm gonna give it a go. First weld of the gate came out okay. So I'm gonna do that one and maybe tack it on each side a couple times and then go to the rest of them. I think that's what I'll do. All right, so I'm pretty happy how this is turning out. I think everything's very square. That doesn't get much better. Doesn't get much better. There's no movement there. No movement. That one's good. I know this one's good. Still in the clamp. I think we're perfect. I'm okay with that. So tomorrow I'll flip it over and get the other side tacked up, and then work on getting the axle. On it. It's going to be a little high because the wheel is 10 inches. So I only want the wheel to be like 2 inches off the ground. I don't want the gate to be, 5 inches off the ground. I want it to be right over the ground, maybe literally 1.5 inches off the ground. Pretty cool, coming out all right. All right, so here we go, continuing on the gate. I stood it up. I'm going to weld the corners, just tack them in pretty good, and then move on to the next thing. Okay, so now I need to figure out how I'm gonna mount the axles onto this. One on that side, one on this side. This has to go there. Pretty sure I'm just gonna do a triangle down to the axle, pretty standard. But I gotta figure out the height because like I said before, I only want the gate to be like 1 inch or 1.5 inches to 2 inches off the ground. So there's gonna be a little bit of an offset. It's gonna look a little weird, I think. But should work just fine. So I gotta figure that out now. So I was gonna do 2 wheels on both sides of the gate, but now I'm kind of thinking it might be better if I only had wheels on one side, and on this side there was just a brace that sat on the ground. So to open and close it, you would just pick it up, barely at all, roll it, and then set it down. And then to move it back, you pick it up barely at all and set it down. Because if there's wheels on both sides, once you put it in place, I don't know what's gonna keep it from just rolling either way by just anything. I think I'm gonna go with the brace thing. The only thing I'm worried about is I don't know how heavy it's gonna be once the wood is in it. I guess we'll see. So I decided the axle was too long. It just kind of looked a little too funny sticking it so far from the side. So I cut it in half. Actually I cut it's gonna be 9 inches from the gate to the wheel. So I got 9 inches here, 9 inches there, leveled it up, squared it away. I'm about to weld it back together now. Next, I need to get the axle welded to the frame and then get supports from there. I think that order of operations is fine. Should be fine. So gotta do that next. All right, so I gotta see if those tacks on there, this is pretty easy to just pick up and roll. I think that'll be okay. Put a little handle right here, maybe here. about this height so you can use your legs. So that's how wide the wheels ended up being. This wheel's coming off a little bit. I don't have them bolted in right now. I think that looks okay. It won't, not coming out too far, but still stable enough to hold it. Especially once I get a brace on this side. It's gonna take some pretty strong wind to blow that over because it's gonna have some good weight on it. It's gonna be a few pounds. It's not just gonna blow over. So here's the idea. Got a little frame going on there. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, except a little bigger triangle. And this side is gonna set on the floor. It's just gonna set on the floor, that's it. Pick it up, move it around. All right, so it's a new day today. And last night I did some tests. I piled the wood up onto here. And I clamped this on there to use that as a handle to lift it up. And when I did that, it was just way too heavy. So I'm gonna scrap this idea, go ahead and do my original idea of putting wheels on both sides. Good news is I can reuse a lot of this. I can reuse that 45 and the bottom piece. So, and I already have the axles that I made earlier. So really I just gotta put it all together after I cut that off, which is no big deal. And then go from there. So here we go. This should be able to slide. Okay, I gotta trim it a little bit. Trim these. Got that mounted up under there. It's not tacked in at all. But still pretty level on those wheels. So that's it. I should be able to weld it up and it'll be on all four wheels. That's it. All four wheels rolling. Now I'm gonna put some 1-inch strips. 1-inch strip all the way down that. Two, let me see, 1, 2, 3 in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, and another one at the end. And these boards are going to be cut in half, and then one of the halves will be cut in half, and they'll be spaced out. So like 6 inches, 3 inches, 6 inches, 3 inches, 6 inches, with an inch between each one. And the whole thing painted black. Should look pretty sweet. Alright, I had a terrible couple welds at the top, but that one got a little better, and then they got better as I went down. But the first strap is on there. So that's where the wood is gonna mount on the inside. Right there. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to do. Alright, so I think I'm done. I just got a bunch of welding left to do. Got both axles on, both wheels on, got all the straps done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wood will go right here, up and down, slats. Rolls pretty easily. So that's it. Just gotta finish all the welds. I still haven't done any of these corners, and I gotta finish each of the axle braces. Alright, so I don't remember exactly where I left off, but I'm back on this project. I have the wood cut, just a few different sizes, not a few different sizes, 2 different sizes. One fat, one little thinner. It's gonna be a fat piece of wood, little thinner, little thinner, little thinner, spaced out with an inch between each one. And then another fat one, thin, 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 fat, thin, 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 until I get to the bottom. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna spray paint the crap out of the whole thing. And that's it, I'll be done. All right, so I'm almost done. I got most of them on. I got one little one on the bottom left. I don't even know what size it needs to be, so I gotta measure that out real quick. And then get it from that, or that one, actually this one. That one's super warped, I don't know if you can see it. Cut it out of that one, Put it on the bottom, and that's it. After that, I take it to the paint shop, which is my parents' house. I told them I would build it for them as long as they paint it, because I hate painting stuff. So anyways, put on that last one, take it to my parents' house, all done. One last look before I get it loaded up and off to my parents' house. It's just, like you said, really heavy duty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay, but... Can you push it on? Well, it can't be right up next to the...
Yeah, no, I can't. Right there.
Go ahead. Push it, Mom. What I was saying, Dad, was I don't know how it's gonna like lock in place, but I guess it doesn't really.
If.
I don't know why we would need it.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, the most thing we want is for the deer. The deer aren't gonna move it.